everybody. It's Mrs. Carrasco from Seagoville High School. And in this lesson, we're going to talk about how to become a graphic designer. We'll go over what a graphic designer does and the different types of graphic design jobs. We'll look at some skills that graphic designers need to have. So let's discuss what a graphic designer may do in their day-to-day lives. So this is a very broad idea of what the duties are, but basically you would meet with clients or your boss to discuss the project details. Then the graphic designer would create the designs or the layouts using one of many editing softwares that are out there. The graphic designer would then present the ideas to the client or to their boss, and there would be some discussion, figure out what they like, what needs to be changed or altered, and then the graphic designer would make sure that the final changes are made before it goes to publications or gets put on the internet. So let's look at some of the different types of design jobs that one may have. Here's a list of a few. There are a lot, so I did not cover all of them. Brand identity graphic designer. So perhaps the graphic designer would work with somebody who has a brand new company or wanting to rebrand or come up with a new identity for the company. The graphic designer would work with the client to figure out what their brand should look like, what their logo may look like, and anything that has to do with how the brand would identify itself or how the company would brand themselves. There's marketing, advertisement, and graphic design as well. So the graphic designer would be putting together a marketing campaign or putting together advertisements like a poster or a flyer that would then be put up somewhere, a billboard, anything that has to do with advertising or marketing for a company. UI, user interface. So kind of just like the picture looks like, these graphic designers work with creating apps or web pages that a company would use that would make sure that their user has a great experience, and they would design what to do or where the app would go once they click on an icon. Publication graphic design, kind of just like the picture shows as well. You would be creating for magazines, images for the cover of a book or a novel, anything that has to do with publications. This one is like one of my favorites is packaging design. There's a lot of times we don't think of like how a package is designed or the logos or colors that we have when we open up a product or we open up that box. But graphic designers oftentimes create the images that one would find on packaging. So I always think that's super neat. Environmental design. So if you've ever walked into an office building or just into a building in general, an organization's building, and you see all these images or murals on their walls with sayings or designs, and you thought, oh man, that's really cool. That is environmental graphic design. So images that we put in the environment. Sometimes images are on the outside of buildings. Sometimes environmental graphic design is how a building is put next to another building to create there's some type of design that goes into that. There are so many different types of graphic design jobs that are out there. I encourage you to explore as much as you can so that you can find the graphic design job that fits you perfectly. Let's take a look at some of the skills a graphic designer will need to have. Artistic ability. So you don't have to be a Picasso, but you may need to draw out a sketch of your design to show the client before they leave. A graphic designer will need to have logic skills. You must make sure that your design conveys the message that the client wants to convey to the consumers, and that takes some thinking. Communication skills. You will need to work closely with your client, with your coworkers, and your boss to make sure that your design is working for the client. Graphic designers should have creativity skill. You want to make sure that you have a new approach to the design, that your design stands out. If someone's going and looking through hundreds of apps, your design on that app should catch the consumer's eye. So you want to make sure your design pops. Time management skills. All right, you don't have forever to do a design. You'll have to have a deadline. And you want to make sure that you meet your deadline as close to possible so that the client will want to work with you again. And finally, graphic designers need to have computer skills. Most all graphic design is done on the computer now with softwares. So make sure that you're up to date on what the type of software that your design needs. So that pretty much wraps it up on what a graphic designer does, part 1 and part 2. We looked at the duties of a graphic designer and the different types of graphic design jobs out there. We also went over a few of the skills that a graphic designer needs to have. But I encourage you, look up some more graphic design jobs. There are tons of different types of jobs out there that I just didn't have time to go over today. Also, it would be good to start working on your artistic ability. Start drawing squares, triangles, circles, straight lines. It's okay if you're not really good, but draw them. Continue to practice every day. And stay tuned for another video where I'm going to go over part 3 and part 4 of what a graphic designer does, looking at the different types of software that graphic designers use and the different types of degrees and certifications that a graphic designer may need. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.